Hit us with it, Tom. Where are we going to start? How are we going to help the folks listening at home or watching? How are we going to help them improve their short games?
Well, we're going to work from the hole and move away. So we're going to start with some short putts first.
Okay.
So we're starting close.
Yeah.
We're moving backwards. So putting short. Stats-wise, okay, what we've got on putting short is from 3 to 6 feet, your 20 handicap golfer will make 55% of their putts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and from 0 to 3 feet, your 20 handicapper, 90% of the putts.
Yeah.
Okay. How can we improve that? Where can the 20 handicapper get a little bit better? Make a few more of those. What mistakes do you commonly see?
Yeah, and then just to add with that, with the 0 handicapper, we're seeing that from 3 to 6 feet, 76%, so 21% more.
Big jump.
That's a lot of strokes. And then 98% from 0 to 3 feet will be held. Now, for me, I think that like this, if I was, let's say, and this is one of the things that we focused on when we're doing this video at the Dukes, if I was to say, right, tomorrow we're going to go out with a golfer who I've never met, they're off 20 handicap, and I've got one thing that I can improve, I get 30 minutes with them to say, right, you shoot, let's call it 95 every round. Your lowest score is 95. How are we going to get that score below 95? How are we going to shoot 94 or 90, let's say? This would be the one place I would go straight to.
You're going within 6 feet.
I would go within 6 feet and say, right, because I think we can all, like, we'll all do it our sames, and if we're looking at the stats, this is where it shows you, an objective view instead of one where we go, I'm okay, and we've talked about this on podcasts in the past. 55% from 3 to 6 foot. It's not the biggest distance, the length of the table that we're sat at now is about 4 feet.
Just to caveat that as well and make that even worse of a scenario. If you then knock that 3 feet past because your distance control is not great, you've got the same 55% chance next time as well.
Exactly. So, you got 3 to 6 feet. I'm not going to ask you to go and add 20 yards onto the drive, but just to get the ball in the hole from 6 feet, we could do things. And there's two things that I think and that we see all the time golfers doing when they're missing these putts. Number one, they're allowing for too much break. Obviously, if we're watching golf on the PGA Tour and we're watching golf worldwide and some of the tournament courses that you would see, some of the greens are quite sloping. And even this, I did a video with, I think it was Marco Penge last year, and I consider myself, a good putter, and I was a little bit shaky over, I would say, sort of 4 to 7 feet or 4 to 6 feet, a little bit more. 4 and in, I was like, I'm not really missing there, but I would just start to miss a few. And he said to me, well, why do you ever, on a general putt, if you're playing Royal England, why are you leaving the hole if you're not on a severely slopey green? And I was like, oh, well, in case of the break. It's like, well, if you hit it just a little bit firmer and stay inside the hole, chances are, if you've got a good stroke, it's going to go in.
Yeah.
You're not giving too much away. And I think that's, the first thing that I see with amateurs. They'll get a putt and they're almost looking for too much information to go on instead of going, right, let's call it 4 foot. What do you see here? Oh, I reckon a ball, 2 balls out the right. And there was a few when we were out playing, I was thinking, no. Again, don't leave the hole. So, at most we're on the right edge here, but a little bit of pace and we'll get it in. So I think that's one aspect. If you are generally, I'm talking for the UK player here, America might be a little bit different when we're adding grain into the situation, when we're adding slope into the situation. But if you've got a generally flat putt and it is from that 0 to 6 feet, you don't need to, be going 1-2 balls outside.
No.
You can generally aim a little bit more inside that hole. Don't give the hole away is what you would probably being heard quite a lot, which means don't let the starting line of your golf ball be outside the parameters of the hole.
Yeah, no, fully agree. You've got to have quite a severe. You'll definitely feel and see the slope if you're needing to aim outside the hole. if you're guessing, kind of thinking, is it moving, is it not moving, then it's definitely not moving enough
over like
for
trying
you to
find
aim
something
outside the hole. So if you are questioning, I can't tell if there is a break in this, then just keep it inside the hole. And if you feel you need to be a bit more firm, don't smash it 3 foot past. But if you feel you need to be a bit more committed, then do that as well.
Yeah, I think from there, then this sort of marries up nicely to that, is starting the ball online. So overrated. And this is like, I think it was last week, or is it the week before, we talked about my favourite drill with one of the questions.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. 2 T-pegs that the putter can pass through, and then about 2 feet out, a foot out, I have another 2 T-pegs. You can buy like things from Vizio, who's by Phil Kenyon, who's done really good stuff, like the gates look like a little bridge that the ball's got to go under or through as you put in. But when we were at the Dukes, when I've taken other amateurs, other golfers out onto the golf course and said, okay, what do you see in this 4-footer? Oh, it's dead straight. Brilliant. Right, let's go with that. Firstly, the lining up of the ball, there's not enough time and care taken into that, and I think that comes from I'm taking too long. But if you practice that skill of actually, if you've got a line on the golf ball and you do this, and you get behind and you're sort of sat behind the golf ball looking directly at the hole, and you're picking the line, and if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see us how we're doing this. But I think a lot of people stand side on and just sort of like,
I was just thinking that.
As they're sort of setting up, they wiggle the golf ball.
Or the line on the ball is kind of sitting over to the side or the other way. Yeah.
And it just doesn't, like, straight away, you're not, if you can read the putt fantastically, but if you can't get that start line matching that putt, that read and the pace that you want to hit it on, we've got no hope.
And the simplest way of doing this is like you say, make sure you're standing looking down. I'm talking on the golf course, but make sure you're looking down the line of the golf ball, so you're directly behind it, not side on. And then just hold your putter up in front of you. You'll see countless players just holding the putter up in front of them, close one eye, and the line of the shaft looks through the line of the ball and hopefully meets if it's a straight putt, meets the hole or meets your intended start line. And that's a foolproof way of making sure the line's aiming in the right direction.
Is it just cut down there and you go, right, okay, perfect? Because again, when we filmed, there was so many putts that I sort of stood behind as one of the team captains, and you looked and went, if they don't do something to manipulate this stroke, that putt's missing, because the way the ball was lined up and the way the putter, the alignment aid on the putter married up, just didn't match. And then all of a sudden hit it, it broke more, and you're like, it didn't. You actually hit a really good putt there because that's where you're aiming. Yeah. So I think, like I said a minute ago, if I had that 30 minutes to spend with anyone, and it might seem a little bit boring, I always used to love putting practice. I'd stand on the putting green for ages, but I would just please, if you could, and even if you're at home, obviously here in England the weather's getting awful now, you're getting cold, but even in your living room, if you've got the space for 6 feet, if you've got a ball and then about a foot, 2 foot out, you can create a little barrier. It might be 2 mugs that you're going through, it might be 2 bookends, you can put T-pegs on the other side, 2 golf balls that a golf ball can fit through, and depending on your skill level, you can bring those 2 items closer together or make them wider for the ball to pass. But the better that you get at aligning at your intended start line and knocking it through there, the more success you'll have on these putts. And that's when you watch the pros on TV and you see that line just really gorgeously just rolling end over end. It looks really pretty. It's not wobbling all over the show.
Yeah,
that's because they've managed to marry that face up with that target line and get it rolling there. So putting short, if you can do that, you'll definitely knock some strokes off.
100%. And as you say, they're coming into winter, and you might not get a huge amount of chance to practice. There's no excuse for putting. You don't need to swing high and knock lampshades off. You can just roll the ball around the house and into objects through some gates, through some training aids. I like it.
Exactly.